to Life with David. I'm David, and today I want to breathe some new life into this old Chromebook. This trusty Samsung Series 3 Chromebook was released in 2015 and stopped receiving automatic updates over 4 years ago. I finally had to replace it, but I don't want to turn it into e-waste. I think this would make a good candidate to convert to straight Linux and turn it into a light-duty machine for messing around with Raspberry Pi Picos. So why don't you join me as we try to convert this old Chromebook into a straight Linux machine? This old Chromebook has pretty low-end specs. It has a 1.6 GHz Intel Celeron N3060 with 2 cores, 4 GB of RAM, and 64 GB of eMMC storage. But given the current memory shortage crisis, the memory is the same as many current Chromebook offerings. A quick check online suggests that single-thread performance should be as good as a Raspberry Pi 4, but since the Pi 4 has 4 cores, multi-thread performance on the Chromebook will be a little weaker. But I think it'll still be good enough for me to do some light Office and Pi Pico programming work. Based on feedback from several sources on the web, I'll install Linux Mint Lite. But it's not just a simple matter of plugging in a flash drive and clicking Install. That's because Chromebooks utilize Chrome OS for security and stability, and it's extremely locked down. Instead of just showing you how to make the conversion, let's go through what's actually happening inside the laptop. I'll start by describing how Chrome OS interacts with the Chromebook's hardware. Chrome OS is designed specifically for Chromebook hardware and relies on a combination of standard PC components and Chromebook-specific firmware. Unlike a conventional PC, a Chromebook boots through a tightly integrated chain involving system firmware, the embedded controller, verified boot mechanisms, and Chrome OS itself. Chrome OS includes drivers and configuration information tailored to the hardware used in each Chromebook model, allowing components such as the keyboard, touchpad, audio systems, and power management circuitry to operate correctly. While much of the hardware is based on industry-standard interfaces, other operating systems may not initially understand Chromebook-specific features. To run Linux or any other operating system, the boot firmware must be modified so that the hardware presents itself in a more standard PC-compatible manner and can boot a conventional operating system installer. The software provided by MrChromebox replaces or supplements portions of the original Chromebook firmware with firmware based on the open-source Core Boot project. The original Chromebook firmware is designed primarily to boot Chrome OS and enforce Google's verified boot process. MrChromebox firmware removes these restrictions and provides a standard Unified Extensible Firmware Interface, or UEFI, compatible boot environment that can load Linux, Windows, and other operating systems. Depending on the installation method chosen, parts of the original firmware may be retained, or the stock firmware may be completely replaced by a full UEFI firmware image. The Chromebook's embedded controller firmware is typically left unchanged, allowing low-level functions such as keyboard scanning, battery charging, thermal management, and power control to continue to operate as originally designed. After the MrChromebox firmware is installed, the Chromebook behaves much more like a conventional laptop computer. The UEFI firmware initializes the processor, memory, graphics hardware, storage devices, and peripheral buses before handing control to the operating system. Most hardware functions continue to be handled by the existing embedded controller, which remains responsible for the tasks such as battery charging, power sequencing, and lid switch detection. Once Linux is installed, standard Linux drivers communicate with the hardware through industry-standard interfaces, often without requiring Chromebook-specific modifications. In everyday use, the machine boots, sleeps, resumes, and operates similarly to any other modern laptop, although some Chromebook-specific keys or features may require additional configuration within Linux. It should be noted that MrChromebox does not convert Chromebook hardware into PC hardware. Rather, it replaces the Chromebook-specific boot firmware with a more standard firmware environment, allowing Linux to use the existing hardware through standard interfaces and drivers. That's a subtle distinction, but an important one, and helps explain why most hardware continues to function after the conversion. The overall conversion process starts by putting the Chromebook into developer mode, which wipes all the local user data from the eMMC drive. Then the MrChromebox firmware is installed, which replaces the Google and legacy boot firmware with the core boot and EDK2 UEFI. The Chromebook is then rebooted using the new UEFI and an image of the new operating system on the flash drive. Then the operating system is installed on eMMC storage, overriding the old Chrome OS. Now let's get into the actual conversion. Before we get started, please be advised that you can brick your system even if everything else seems to go right. If your system bricks, don't blame me, Mr. Chromebox, or anyone else. I would only do this to breathe new life into old Chromebooks that are slated to become e-waste anyway. Now let's get started. First, find 3 USB flash drives. You'll need one for backing up all your local data. You'll need a second for installing the Linux ISO file. And the third is to back up the existing Chrome OS in case you have even the slightest inkling that you might want to restore Chromebook functionality someday. In addition, you'll probably need to open the Chromebook case, so gather some tools to fit the screws in the bottom. Next is to determine what type of Chromebook you have. Type Chrome://system, and after a while, all the system specs will be displayed. The most important item is the hardware ID, or HWID. For this Chromebook, it is Celeste. With the HWID in hand, take some time to study the MrChromebox.tech website. Read the Getting Started section carefully and all the way through. Following the instructions exactly is very important. Then search for your HWID under the Supported Docs section. Verify that the laptop has UEFI full ROM support and check on the Write Protect method. What's Write Protect? For security and stability, Chromebooks don't want you messing with the boot system. Therefore, they make it difficult for you to overwrite the boot system by write protecting the flash ROM where it lives. There are various methods of removing write protection. Some require that the battery be disconnected. Others do it in firmware, and most of the older Chromebooks require that a jumper or switch on the motherboard be modified. On this Chromebook, the jumper is actually a screw that bridges some contacts. We can see that by clicking on the Write Protect method. We'll get into that later. After you've studied the website and still want to proceed, go to the MrChromebox.tech Getting Started tab and scroll down to the Replacing Chrome OS via Full ROM Firmware. We'll follow those instructions during the demonstration. Start by backing up all your local data to a flash drive or the cloud. We'll be entering developer mode, and this will wipe out all the local eMMC storage. Since we already verified the laptop has UEFI full ROM support, we can now enter developer mode by pressing Escape, Refresh, which is the circular arrow icon, and Power. After entering recovery mode, press Ctrl-D to start the developing mode process. At the next screen, press Enter to verify you want to enter developer mode. You'll be warned that the operating system verification is off, with a warning beep after about 30 seconds. The screen will blank for a while and then return stating that your system is transitioning to developer mode and that local data has been cleared. After about 5 minutes, the laptop will reboot to the OS verification is off screen. At this point, turn off the Chromebook and disable the firmware write protection. Since my write protect screw is on the underside of the motherboard, I'll need to remove the bottom, disconnect the jumpers from the motherboard, remove the motherboard, and remove the screw. Be careful here. In my case, there was conductive tape between the screw and the contacts. The first time, I just removed the screw, but didn't remove the tape, and I got a write protect error. I had to disassemble the Chromebook again and fully remove the tape. After replacing the motherboard, jumpers, and cover, power up the Chromebook. Log in and reconnect to the Wi-Fi. After that, enter Virtual Terminal 2 or VT2 by pressing Control, Alternate, F2, which is the right arrow. Then log in as Kronos. Inside of VT2, enter this command from MrChromebox, which will install the MrChromebox firmware and start it. After it starts, make sure you have a green WP before option 2. That means write protection has been successfully disabled. Select option 2. After a couple dire warnings, you'll be given the opportunity to back up the stock firmware. It's a good idea to do this and keep it, at least until you have Linux running successfully. After the firmware backup, the full ROM firmware will download and install. This could take several minutes. When completed, power down the laptop from the main menu by typing P. Now it's time to boot into Linux. I'm going to use Linux Mint. I navigated to the web page and downloaded the XFCE version. It took about 15 minutes. I verified the image using the Windows verification tutorial on the Mint page, which is not trivial. Then I used Etcher to flash the ISO image into a flash drive, which took about 8 minutes. I plugged the flash drive into the Chromebook and turned the laptop back on. It took about 6 minutes for the full ROM firmware to boot the first time. From the options screen, I chose to start Linux Mint. After another 2.5 minutes, Linux was running. I checked out a couple features, then clicked on the Install Linux Mint icon on the desktop. After answering a few setup questions, the installation started and I decided to have some lunch. When I returned, I removed the installation flash drive and rebooted the machine. After configuring Linux for my machine, I checked out several programs. Of course, the first was YouTube. Unfortunately, I had an audio problem. The video would play for about a minute and then it would lock up while outputting a steady tone. I contacted ChatGPT and we went through hundreds of pages of debugging conversations. The upshot was that a legacy audio driver was needed to be enabled. I did that in the grub using this command. That did the trick, and I was able to play audio for over an hour with no issues. Shortly after I corrected the audio problem, I got into an awkward shutdown. You know, one of those times where something didn't work, so you closed the lid at the wrong time. Well, anyway, the machine would boot back up, but the Wi-Fi was missing. It was just gone, and the laptop couldn't see the hardware. The solution was to do a full power-off reset. I opened the laptop a third time and disconnected the battery and the charger and pressed the power on button for 30 seconds. Then I reconnected the battery and powered on the machine again. This successfully reset the Wi-Fi card, and the laptop was able to communicate with the card again. I solved the problem by changing the power settings so that the machine only powers off by using the power switch. YouTube playback using Firefox was a little jerky with a few dropped frames, so I switched to Chrome and the playback was much worse. To improve YouTube performance, ChatGPT and I determined that I should return to using Firefox as my browser and to force YouTube to send content as H.264 using the Firefox H.264 IFY plugin. That allowed the laptop to use the Intel video acceleration hardware, which removed almost all the dropped frames. Even though the Chromebook has a number of Chromebook-specific keys, it does not have a delete key. Since I'd like to use GIMP on this machine, having a dedicated delete key would be very helpful. After discussions with ChatGPT, we decided to map the Chrome OS Overview, or F5 key, to delete. First, I determined the key code for the Overview key by typing XEV. After navigating the cursor to inside the square, I pressed the Overview key and got a key code of 071. I created .xmodmap, which reassigned key code 71 to delete, and then invoked that using doc's xprofile, where I called .xmodmap. After rebooting, the overview key worked fine as a delete key. I really liked having dedicated volume and brightness controls on the Chromebook, so I created a shortcut for those keys using function PA control and brightness control. PA control was already installed, so I used the keyboard application shortcut to bind those commands to F8, 9, and 10. Then I installed brightness CTL from the terminal and bound the appropriate commands to F7 and 8. It's important to note that the keyboard shortcuts and key remapping are not the same thing. Keyboard shortcuts cause an action to occur when a key is pressed, while key remapping changes the identity of the key itself. Adjusting the volume and brightness are done with applications, so using keyboard shortcuts works well. However, since GIMP expects a true delete key, remapping the Chromebook's overview key to delete with Xmodmap is more appropriate. Using these methods, you can create a low-powered Linux laptop configured just the way you want it. Thanks for joining me today. I'm really pleased with the conversion of my old Chromebook to Linux Mint. I like to camp off-grid, and having a low-powered Linux machine will allow me to do simple video editing and microcontroller development. Since this laptop doesn't have much power, I'll probably use Shotcut in lieu of Kdenlive for video editing. I'm sure it'll be slow, but you have to give up a few things when you're really limited on electrical power. If you like this video, or you think someone else might, please give it a thumbs up. If not, give it a thumbs down. The more likes this video has, the more YouTube will recommend it to others. Also, please leave a comment or suggestion for things to do. I hope to do more of these videos, so please subscribe and click on the bell for notifications of new videos. Let's get together next time for another day in Life with David. See you soon!